Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the third season of Les Oderants. I am your host, Dan, and I am extremely unlikable according to our reviews. I am joined, as always, by the brilliant and likeable James, Ben and Fliss. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
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 Right.
That was my review, by the way.
I know it was.
I wrote that review.
I thought so. I thought so. No, I honestly, I've, you know what? It's kind of, I've never been universally popular. It's hard to believe, I know. There was a time, so just down the road from us, there's the local swimming baths, and my daughter had a swimming lesson. And we were running late, it was raining and all that jazz. So I jumped in the car and I drove her down, and I had to park on the private road across the way from the swimming baths. And as I stopped the car, some woman ran over to me. She said, "Excuse me, this is a private road." Well, I'm sorry, I'd need to take my daughter to a swimming lesson. And she said, "How would you like it if I came and parked outside your house?" I was like, well...
Give it a try.
Yeah, why not? You go for it, come round.
There's so many fucking potholes in the road.
Yeah, she said, "How would you like it if I came and parked outside your house?" And I said, "Well, it's fine. You know, you can come round and park." She said, "Why would I want to do that?" I said, "I don't fucking know. You're the one who suggested it." At which point she said, "Well, you are a very rude man." And I said, "Do you know what? You are not the first person to say that." So fuck you. Yeah.
But that's a brilliant response.
Yeah, well, she deserved it. But yeah, no, funny. I was reading some of the feedback, and some of it sort of suggested that I don't like anyone disagreeing with me. Now, I am quite happy to be named and shamed for being dislikable and unpleasant, because that's kind of my shtick, right? But I'm usually quite up for disagreement, so I'm baffled. If you feel like I don't handle disagreement well, please go fuck yourselves. That's exactly.
I believe that actually the reviewer even said, "And don't even tell me to go and fuck myself, because I'll just prove my point,
yeah.
Dan."
I won't. Yeah. I won't be listening to you. All right. Actually, I don't care. Anyway, I would rather...
Dan will go and park a poo outside your house.
Park a poo. Yes. Talking of poo, actually not poo, but if I move on to the subject of arseholes, because, I mean, that's obviously a good next step, I have, for the last few days, been shoving painkillers up my hoop, which is basically... about as much,
which explains this introduction.
Yeah, it does rather, doesn't it? Yeah, I've been heavily medicated this week. On Wednesday,
you've been boofing, haven't you?
I've been
boofing.
Boofing. What's boofing?
Boofing, it's like when you put like magic mushrooms up your arse or something.
You can't put magic mushrooms up your arse.
You can put anything up your arse if you want to.
Whatever.
I mean...
yeah.
See, Fliss is world wise in this shit. Yeah. No, it's just when you put like drugs up your arse, it's called like boofing, isn't it?
Oh, right, I didn't know that.
I don't know.
And you guys wonder why we're not sponsored. I do.
It is hard to believe, isn't it? So, well, it's now Sunday night. Obviously, on Wednesday, I was taken into hospital screaming like a small child because of some absolutely horrific back pain. It's basically a sort of inflammation in my spine, causing all sorts of unpleasant pains and secondary pains and all that shit. So I got taken into hospital in an ambulance, screaming like a little child, and they basically gave me intravenous morphine, which can confirm that is the absolute shiznit.
Very good indeed.
Yeah, you could definitely see how people get addicted to that kind of quickly, because that is the good stuff. And then they basically treated me as though I was drug seeking for the next sort of 16, 18 hours, and eventually pushed me out the door with some suppositories to shove up my arse. So I've been...
You go into hospital with like intense pain, or they give you an operation, you have intense pain. They then give you the intravenous good stuff, and when you want more, they're like, not like that, no. and they take it away from you. It's fucking meanies.
Fuck you. Yeah, so they were like, go get your boof on. So they pushed me out the door and basically told me to shove these up my arse. So,
I think, the American system is much better, where they just get you like hooked on shit that's even stronger.
And then make you pay for it.
Just fucking, as long as you pay, you can fucking do whatever you want. You know, you destroy your life, it'll be fine.
The OxyContin epidemic. I've watched multiple drama series about that now, and it's a complete clusterfuck. But like, you can totally see how, if you are in extreme pain and you get given a tablet that solves that, and over time you require more and more of it, it's so immediately obvious how you're going to fucking physically chase that, and eventually it'll lead you to rack and ruin. Anyway, nasty stuff. Nevertheless, I am maybe a little bit more, shall we say...
Grumpy?
Grumpy? No.
Relax.
Not even mellow.
Relax.
Trippy. I'm going to say a bit more trippy than you. Yeah. So yeah, I've had a solid week of jamming stuff up my bum, which has been great. Before I got taken into hospital, the last perfume I remember spraying was 1909 by Ormond Jane, which is a new Selfridges exclusive. And as I was lying there screaming on this gurney like some sort of... just like absolute fucking banshee. I remember smelling my arm where I'd sprayed this nice Ormond Jane. It was a very nice sort of citrusy masculine, so that was reassuring. But apart from that, no real perfume news from me. Ben, what have you been shoving up your arse this week?
Oh, all sorts. Anything that goes, really. Yeah, small children.
God, no, you can't say that.
Nothing, actually. Nothing up. And just the occasional thing out. But perfumes.
Lovely. Good.
Perfume news.
Yeah, perfumes. We should talk about perfumes rather than... Yeah, I just remembered, this is not a bum play podcast. This is about perfume. Fliss looks absolutely distraught, by the way. I mean, shout out to Georgina, who thinks that I am a prude. But I mean, for fuck's sake, Fliss looks like she's going to fall through the floor in a minute.
I'm not being prudy. I'm just concerned about our listeners.
Yeah, fuck 'em. They don't care. Well, no, not fuck them. I am confident that our listeners tune in expecting to hear a reasonable amount about people shoving things up their arse.
No, absolutely. You are completely right. I stand corrected. And if anybody wants to open a chat on our Facebook group, or indeed our newly cheaper Patreon, please be our guest. I would love chats about your bumhole. Just give it to me, babies.
Fan art, also welcome.
Fan art. Yeah, lovely. Okay. Right. Serious hat on. Perfume, go.
I think most of our fans would like that, except for that one that hates you, Dan.
Well, I think people listen in spite of me rather than because of me, but that's okay. Someone said...
Who doesn't like Dr. Boof?
Yeah, exactly. No, a friend of mine is a journalist, and she was saying that, to be honest, all your reviews are 1-star or 5-star. That's what you want. You want people to love you or hate you. If you had a load of mediocre reviews, you'd be shit. Yeah.
Totes.
Yeah, but I don't listen to you.
I know you don't.
I only listen to my journalist friend. So,
not the lady that's been actually, living and breathing entertainment industry for the last 30 years. Don't listen to her.
Oh, who's that?
Oh,
who's that?
I don't know. The professional actress who's married to a director.
Go on. Well rescued, Ben. Well rescued before she tears my eyes out. Yeah. Go. So, perfume, go.
All right, so I'll start with this one because this is the most interesting, right? Chabord, probably Chabord, I reckon.
Chabord.
That's it, Chabord. Chabord, lait concentré. Right? Do you know Chabord?
Shaboof.
Right, can we please? All right.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry.
I gotta stop drinking. Oh God.
Just big.
Right, serious face. Serious shampoo. Oh, man, that wouldn't have even made sense 10 minutes ago.
Oh, God.
Oh. Right, try it.
Oh, I might put us all on mute and just let Ben chat.
I'll just talk to myself. Chabot, lait concentrate. No, seriously,
nice.
Chabot.
Tell me about it.
Do we know Chabot? Because I didn't.
No.
They sounded like something I should know because it's French and, Chabot. Sounds...
It's sort. How do you spell it?
Chabaud.
Oh, okay. Chabot. Chabot. It sort of sounds like... don't say it, James.
I know what you're going to say. I think I know. I think me and you are like got some kind of psychic link tonight.
Well, it sounds
the power of the boofing.
No, it's not the boof. It sort of sounds like Chambord. Like that. Is that what you were going to say?
Exactly. I knew you were going to say that.
The alcoholic
that you put
drink,
in like prosecco or champagne or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds like one of those brands that is meant to sound like another brand that sort of exists. Do you know what I'm getting at? Like, sort of, if we just create a new brand that sounds a bit like that other one, then cool. Is it one of those, or is this an actual venerable perfume house?
I don't know. I mean, they've got... their bottles look nice, I know that. But let's have a look. So Chabot Maison de Parfum is a French perfumery launched in 2002 based in Montpellier. The brand offers evocative and luxurious personal perfumes, candles and interior fragrances that combine the best French perfumery traditions. Oh, no, the best French perfumery traditions with modern creativity. There you go. And they have...
That sounds like it was written by an AI.
26 perfumes in the database.
What?
So
Since they launched?
Yeah. A little less than one a year. It's not bad. Anyway, lait concentrate, right?
What?
This one.
Lait
concentrate.
As in
milk.
As in milk?
Yes, right.
Milk.
And I got this sample. I bought another perfume and this came with it, basically. And I had no idea what it was. And I saw the lait and I was like, milk? Okay, let's give it a spray. But fuck me, it smells like evaporated milk. It smells exactly like evaporated milk. And that's it. It's basically... I think it's listed as milk, toffee, and like sugar. But it also reminds me of I don't know if you guys had the Fudge Factory, which is enough for those jokes. There was a shop that basically sold fudge, and they made it in the background, in an open kitchen, and you could watch them making the fudge.
Is this another Bubble Works?
Kind of, yeah. That's the way it was presented.
Dr. fucking Fufu's Fudge Factory.
Yeah, that's the way it was presented. It was like the Fudge Factory, fun for the kids, and they would make the fudge in an open kitchen in the background, and then all the fudge was in a deli almost in the front, and you could have all these different flavours.
Stop saying
they make the fudge in the back. Oh,
Stop saying the word fudge.
It smells like that.
When you say a word too much.
When it smells like that. It smells like evaporated milk. It just smells like that. It's fucking gorgeous. It's weird as a perfume, and it's not sort of rice pudding all day, like wearing rice pudding all day. But it's.
Would you want to wear it as a perfume? That's the question.
I have been wearing it for about 3 days in a row, and I love it. But it's had some pretty mixed views. Some people have been like, "This is amazing," and others have been like, "That smells like food." Too much like food.
It smells like evaporated milk. Yeah.
It's too basic.
Condensed milk, or whatever you call it.
It's almost like a solimilk.
Solimilk.
There's nothing to it other than that. But it's fucking great. If you like evaporated milk, Chabot Lait Concentrate is the one for you because it's brilliant.
How much did it rinse you? Or was that just a sample?
But I am going to buy the bottle, and there's one on eBay for about 80 quid. But I think...
Well, you'll have to buy it before the podcast goes out because someone else will be on it like a carp on it.
They're about 110 from shops. Something around that, which is, it's not too bad. But yeah, I thought, they are 110 euros. I thought they were great. I thought it's great. Nice. It is weird. It's one of them things where I can also imagine wearing it with a hangover or something would just be hideous. But in the right time, I wore it the other night, and then I got in bed, and then the next morning I woke up and my bed covers smelled all of rice pudding.
Milky.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was that.
Right, let's move on to the next one. Right, so
perhaps we should.
So the other one is another brand that's kind of weird. Molinard. You know Molinard?
So Molinard are a brand that I always see in like the discount section on online retailers, and I'm always a bit wary of them. And they always look like, again, one of those sort of like Johnny come lately brands with. But
they're not. Molinard have been around for
like
years.
A venerable French house,
and they've been around. And their patchouli perfume is fucking bang on, and like one of the best kind of like solid patchoulis. I don't know, like just a single
a solid patchouli.
Like just a single patchouli perfume, and it's cracking. One of the best.
Those the purple bottle line of those they were all going for like about 20 quid a pop for a while, and now all of a sudden they've gone up again, even though they look to be the same bottle. They haven't really changed much. But they were, widely available for ages. Really good brand. I mean, Habanito.
I was about to say Habanito, which is like one of my top 10s. It's fucking good.
Oh, there you go. Look,
it's 1925 release, I think. They've been around for years.
1925? Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah, that is fair enough.
I think it's 1925. I could be a couple of years out either way. Last week's mistake. I don't want to just say it.
Yeah, I bought the patchouli one for my mum for Christmas one year because she's like was really into patchouli and that, and she just wanted like a straight kind of headshot patchouli, and I was like, Molinard patchouli is the answer. Cracking. But this one, never smelled it. It's another French one, Vent et Marée, which is it's wind and tides is what it means.
Wind and tides, as in sea
tides, and it's a fucking brilliant, like beachy fragrance. Sort of got that kind of like fresh, like salty air effect to it, without being too kind of spiky at all. It's still quite soft because it's got tonka in it and sandalwood, and I tell you what, if it was called Afternoon Swim and had Louis Vuitton on the bottom, everyone would be spunking in their knickers about it. But because it's Molinard, it's totally slept on, I think. And I bought it for £40. £40 for 75 mil.
Fucking hell. That's all
right. It's beautiful. It's like this really soft marine, like beach fragrance that like fresh and like, it's great. It's got quite a photorealistic kind of salty air kind of feel to it, but it's not dirty in any way. It's it's clean. It's sort of sweet tonkery underneath.
Not like Silence the Sea.
Not at all. No, like totally different idea of like beach fragrance. Great. Right. Really nice. That was two good ones that I got this week. And then I got this abomination that I think we should talk about because it's hideous. Elisa Ashley Ombre Gris. Not as in ambergris, as in like grey amber. Ombre Gris. This was a super cheapie. It was about £12, which you can tell by the bottle.
So it's probably got genuine ambergris.
Yeah, obvious.
But it's, again, like an old brand, old kind of like legacy brand.
Elisa Ashley.
But Jesus, it's horrible. It's this horrible, like plasticky, oversweet amber. And the reason I bought it anyway, because it is like quite an old perfume, and I think Ombre Gris actually is not that old, but the brand is old, and they go back to like they've got some ties with Ubigant somehow. I don't really know how. And I just saw it and thought, Ombre Gris, give that a go. But yeah, dreadful. So I smelt that and I sprayed it once and it made me want to cry. And I don't recommend. But the reason I bring it up is because I think if you are into those old school, like old lady ambers almost, those kind of like overtly floral, quite sweet ambers, like they were kind of like a bit kind of old school now, sort of 80s sort of feel to them. If you're into them, then maybe this is your thing, and it costs £12. If you're not, it's hot. It's really hideous.
You're not selling it to me.
No, I didn't scrub it, but that's because I try not to scrub anything. But I would have if I was a lesser man. It was hideous.
It doesn't sound great.
Just to out piece of shit, your piece of shit. I got this, right, which is
Mastermind.
called Mastermind Vintage by
Lagmani. That sounds like a made-up brand as well.
Yeah, and it was like £1.99.
Wow.
Okay.
For like, is it 100 mil?
I love it on the top. It says fine perfumery.
It's just
adequate perfume.
Leg money. Mastermind. I just
Mastermind by Leg Money.
I looked at the bottle and I picked it up off the shelf and went, fuck me, just how can something this heavy cost £1.99? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, for a start, it's fucking heavy, right? So I was like, I'm just intrigued to get it. It's worth a punt for £1.99.
This much dog shit in weight would cost more than £1.99.
So as soon as you see that bottle, what
1 million.
does it,
Miss Paco 1 million.
yeah, well done. Yeah. This kind of sort of bronze ingot thing. Yeah, it's basically a really shit, bad version of Paco Rabanne 1 million.
Oh my God. I mean, the original was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it that much. I think it was kind of okay, but I wouldn't wear it, and I wouldn't wear this. So really, I'm the dickhead because I've just wasted £1.99 on
I was confident before you told that story that I could out piece of shit your out piece of shit of Ben's piece of shit. I'm not so sure now.
Come on,
let's have it. Well, on Saturday, I sort of finally made it out of the house, having been basically bedbound since I got back from hospital, and my loving wife made me go to John Lewis to buy her a birthday present. And
oh, you better, babe. You better, babe. You better. Off you go. Buy me some shit.
Yeah, go get me a fucking present. Yeah, no, not even go get me a present. It was like literally come with me and pay for shit.
So were you absolved of like getting the birthday gift because it was a birthday when you were ill, or what? I don't understand.
No. Her birthday's on Tuesday.
Right. Okay.
Sure
Could have even waited to this week.
So she's just making sure that the gifts are what she wants.
Correct. Yes.
Anyway,
so you don't just get like surprise gifts,
badass, isn't she?
Right. You know me, Fliss. You know me pretty well. Do you think that a relationship between me and a sort of shrinking, violent, submissive would work at all? No. She is not one to take any prisoners. Anyway, so she walked me around John Lewis, pointing at shit and making me pay for it. But I tried the new YSL fragrance called Myself. I mean, I assume it's meant to say myself.
That's shit. That is shit.
The vowels and grammar. They've distracted any class of vowels and grammar.
Excuse me, dear. Anyway, that is the most horrific piece of garbage I have ever tried. It is nauseating. It is like it's the bastard offspring of Ralph's Club and every other fucking mediocre commercial success for the last dozen years. It's repellent. It is absolutely fucking vile, synthetic nastiness. I couldn't even tell you what it smelled like beyond a sort of very piercing citrus and then this kind of really sickly, bubble-gummy, musky, woody glop. Vile.
Which is a shame because the bottle is beautiful.
Exactly. Which is exactly what I thought. I thought, I've got to try it.
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't. But I did think, I've got to try it because that is one fucking handsome-looking bottle. But funnily enough, I did post about that on Facebook and a few people said, yeah, I had the same initial reaction, but worth going back and trying it later. Actually, you might find you have a different view. Maybe. I mean, I'm open-minded enough to give it a second go, but I fucking hated it on first try. It was just really bad. Really, really bad. Anyway, sorry. Ben, did you finish yours, or have you got more you would like to share with the team?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much just those three. Chabot and Molinard, both of them brilliant. Love them. Bought one of them. Will be buying the other. The Ombre Gris by Alyssa Ashley. No.
No. Hard pass on the Ombre Gris.
Yes.
Okay. So, Fliss, what can you tell us perfume-wise?
Well, I think I was a bit late to the party because I found a sample of Oud Satin Mood and I've never smelt it.
Oh, yeah. It's very nice.
I fucking hate it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just found it. It was so smooth and so clean and so perfect. And then it just continued to be smooth and clean and perfect, but in this kind of synthetic sledgehammery way. And I found it really... It gave me a headache and I had to scrub it off. Once I'd scrubbed it off...
Was it the extract version, or the eau de parfum?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because they are subtly different in experience. Yeah.
Once I'd scrubbed it off,
not massively. No.
There was occasional times I was like, oh, something smells nice, because you know the way that when you scrub a scrubber, the scrubbers always like stick around for a lot longer than you want, and there would.
That's why you're scrubbing them.
And there were times after I'd scrubbed it that I was like, oh, actually, that's quite nice, but it just in its initial kind of sprays, I just found it was just too much. I only gave it 2 sprays. I was just like, and I think that maybe it's a style thing. It's just not my style in terms of, it felt very modern and very slick and just it's for me.
It's a very polished rose and vanilla sort of thing, isn't it? And I've tried it a few times and I sort of like the smell, but I've concluded that it's one of those perfumes that I like to smell on other people as they walk past.
I can imagine that being the case.
I like to get a whiff of it for a bit than wear it myself, because if you wear it yourself, it is fucking relentless.
Oh, so relentless. And it's funny that you say it's polished, because it feels as if it's so polished that sort of almost everything else is sliding off it, like even your own personality. It's wearing you.
You spray this on your neck and your personality just slides down your body.
You're only about this thing, and it just felt like it was definitely wearing me, and I wasn't, because I was on a little puddle on the floor.
I love that concept. I'm not wearing this perfume. This perfume is wearing me.
It had to go. It had to go. So that got scrubbed. Oh, the big news of the week is what I won't be smelling again soon is fucking Dentel Eau Coeur, because I wrote to Henry Jacques and said, hello, darlings, I smelt Dentel Eau Coeur and I loved it so much. Please do send me a blotter because I'd love to smell it again before Christmas. Blah, blah. No, madam, we don't do that anymore. Maybe you could come in and try it. And I went... replied, and I said,
you could shove it up your arse.
To be honest with you, I don't live in London, and
I'll certainly try.
Well, some of us can try. But I'm a busy working.
They're not the biggest bottles. I reckon I could get a couple up there.
Next time you're in Harrods, if you could pop one up for me, that would be grand. So I wrote back and I was like, I don't live in London. I'm busy working mum of 2. I'm not going to be coming in before Christmas. Surely you can see your way clear just to send me a blotter? No, madam, we can't. If you have any friends in the vicinity, perhaps they could come in for you. And I just thought to myself...
Play the Les Oderants card.
Well, no, I just thought... You know what? It really...
Listen, Henry.
if indeed that is your real fucking
Could I speak to Henry, please?
Listen, Mr. Kipling.
But I had intimated that I was considering it as a Christmas purchase, and I wanted to smell it again, and I'd written in great flowery detail about how much I loved it, and if they could just send me some more, I would be I needed to test it again before purchase. And it felt to me like they have to be very, very sure of their clientele to not want to have a new member of it. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard to give someone some good customer service and just to go, yeah, okay, we don't do it, but as you've asked so nicely twice, let's see what I can do. It wouldn't have taken much.
I get the impression that a brand like Henri Jacques does not give a fuck about acquiring new customers.
They don't, do they?
Because their existing customers, it's far easier for them to sell more stuff to their existing customers. If you are an existing Henri Jacques customer, you're going to buy 10,
Yeah.
20, 30 bottles, right? And they can keep selling you them forever because you only get to be an Henri Jacques customer in the first place if you're willing to sort of jizz loads of fucking money at them, right? If you write to them with a, please help me, I'm really considering making my life investment into one perfume kind of story.
I was more subtle than that, but I'm a perfume enthusiast, and I smelt it last time I was in Harrods, and it really, I was really impressed. I didn't make a purchase on the day, but I'm considering making a purchase soon. I'd love to smell it again before Christmas.
That's perfectly reasonable.
The idea of considering, do you know what I mean? That's not the clientele they're interested in. They're interested in the ones that go, Henri Jacques, £900, here you go, thank you, bye.
Yeah.
Do you know,
You saying that, it comes across to them like, oh, please, sir, can I, Henry?
Please, Henry.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I'm in between booths of different
I feel
things.
a bit shit now. Maybe I've really
I need to
fucked
level
it.
out a bit.
You didn't.
To make you feel better, I emailed Christian Dior once in the Paris boutique, whatever, to ask if I could get a bottle of Eau Noir, and I was like, look, I know it was just after the pandemic started, I think, and I was like, look, I know that you've got some under the counter, right? And I obviously can't travel. We can't travel because it's pandemic. So can I just buy one because it's my favourite perfume? I've run out, and they were just like, no. I was like, oh, okay, then, fuck you. I'll buy one on Facebook then.
You disgusting British bastard. Yeah. It's so I don't think you fucked that up at all, Fliss. I mean, I just think that the attitude of a brand like Henri Jacques is simply going to be, yeah, we can't be asked. Sorry, unless you are jetting into fucking Harrods and spending, £40,000-100,000 with us, we're not really interested in making any effort to fucking do anything. I mean, they're notoriously shit about stuff like. I mean, I wrote to them once saying, showing them a fucking where I dropped one of the bottles and I chipped corner of the glass. And I was like, please, could I buy a replacement bottle, because this is obviously part of my pride and joy collection. They didn't even fucking reply. I mean, they are the absolute cunts of perfume customer service.
It's annoying, isn't it? Because they make really nice stuff.
Yes, indeed. Very annoying. Very annoying.
But they should make nice stuff, because if they were just relying on those mega rich customers, that would mean that they could sell them any old fucking shite, and that they would spend however much you're talking on bottles of it. So I'm glad that they are actually quality perfumes. But unless they want to the furniture's nice thing come on the show, they can fuck off, because I'm never going to try them. I'm never going to go to London, hopefully again, just ever. And they can they can whistle for the fucking $4,000 bullshit. There you go.
Yeah, fuck them in the ear. Okay, so good. All right. As well as not smelling Dentel Eau Coeur this week, anything else perfume news from you, Fliss?
Just quickly, in terms of not liking Oud Satin Mood, I then dug about in my drawers and pulled out the terrific Oud line.
That slide out of your desk, I assume. Yeah.
Which actually came out just a bit before the Oud Satin Mood, and I think By Terry is quite an underrated house in some respects. I don't think they're not really producing that much anymore, but there was a period of time in the early sort of 2010s through to 2018, 2020, they were doing some really nice things, and their terrific Oud line I think is really good, and it certainly doesn't break any new ground, but it is just solidly good in that slightly expensive Western Oud feel. And I've got the Extreme, I've got the Oud Low, which is the only thing my husband will wear, and I've also just got the straight terrific Oud, and I wear them all, and I think they're all delightful. Really easy wears for this kind of autumnal time. And yeah, I think they really remind me of that whole Cartier Oud line in that feeling of very classy, not breaking new ground, but just really nice. And the bottles are to die for, the presentation's to die for. You can pick it up on eBay for about half price now in a lot of the discounters, and I just think they're good. They're just good. You can't go wrong.
Well, I haven't tried the Terrys, but the Cartier, definitely.
I really like them. I've got
classy,
a couple of the Cartier
really
ones as well. Very classy, and they are classy. The whole Terry line is very classy. But yeah, so I had.
They look a bit Henri Jacques, them bottles, don't they? The Cartier bottles.
They do. They're like a taller, thinner Henri Jacques. Yeah. Okay. Anything else from you, Fliss?
Not really. I think that's about it, to be fair.
Okay. So, James, have you prepared an awful 14 this week or just a regular full 14?
Just a regular full 14.
Well, we'll call it an awful 14 because we were... Yeah, I'll just explain the fucking... the second half when we get to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's rumble.
Okay. Just interestingly, maybe this might be news and it's kind of related to my full 14. Just a little preamble to the full 14. Rich Mitch, shout out to Rich Mitch, friend of the show. We were just having a conversation. I'm sure he won't mind. But we were just talking about this, that he'd sent me some picture of Persolet's video where he'd said he'd got some new bottle of a Guerlain that he's just reviewed the other day, and he called it a sample.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, I see that people like that, right, who are like, you know, I know he's not a fragrance journalist or whatever, but he's in those circles, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Of those kind of people. I don't see him as like a regular, just like Joe. I don't know what he did before, but he seems to be like, I don't know. There's a degree of like, I'm just kind of like, I don't care if he's calling it a sample.
He's kept a fragrance blog for years and years and years.
Yes.
And I think that's what he's better well known for than his YouTube's almost like a side.
Well, precisely. He's not just like somebody who's just come along, is he? Like as a YouTuber. No. So the way that like
Johnny Come Lately.
Well, Rich Mitch is going, the 1925 Johnny Come Lately. That before you, some fucking Johnny Come Lately. This is like, haven't eaten from
first perfume in 1925. Well, yeah. Well, like I said, Johnny
so anyway, no,
you're not even 100. Fuck off, mate.
Yeah. So anyway, no, he was saying that he called it a sample in the description or whatever, and just said, "Oh, like Guerlain have sent me a sample," and I'm like, it's like a semantic thing, isn't it? Of like, I wasn't particularly like, "Oh my god, he's not declaring full bottles," and you know, why is he not saying that full bottle is a thing? And like, Rich Mitch is fully convinced that like, you know, it's a bit of like wordplay on his part, and he deliberately knows what he's doing and stuff. I don't know if this is like a relevant fucking conversation, but I'm just like,
people.
I don't really care, but
people just refer to bottles as PR samples, though.
Yeah, that's what
I think they do.
All that said, I think I listen to Persolet more than I listen to 99% of fucking YouTubers. I'll tell you that much.
True. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't listen to any YouTubers, so the same is true for me. I mean, logically, the same is true for me.
I've listened to him for a long time, and I've read his blogs for a long time, before kind of even getting into YouTube and stuff. He's been blogging for a long time.
And he has fantastic shirts. He puts Roger Dove to shame, doesn't he? Roger Dove to shame. Yeah, he's got some absolutely fantastic flamboyant numbers.
Nice. I like a flamboyant shirt, but usually I'm dressed in black.
Sorry.
Okay,
anyway, 14.
Hit us.
So the reason that I mentioned that is because a lot of these this week have come from Rich Mitch, who just sent me a pouch of samples, and
lad.
I've just been going through them, and the first one is Etro Charles Neur.
What does that mean?
Not a fucking clue.
Okay, good. And is it nice?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got one of him from. I'm gonna do.
Oh, have a smell of it now. Fliss will tell you what it smells like. Because my description is rubbish. Like, it really is. I wrote something down here.
Fliss is making unpleasant face.
Well, it's just all a bit alcohol-y. I haven't just sprayed it. This is going to take ages if we do it like this, isn't it?
What was your actual notes on it, James, or did you not make any?
Very herbal, aromatic perfume. Smells old in a good way. And I mean, come on, it is. It was from 1997 this stuff came out. That's
John,
my review. Yeah, that's it. That's
excellent.
my review. So that was an Etro.
Was a good year.
Etro are fucking
I think
fantastic.
you were fine, James. That you were not spellbound, but happy.
Ah, there you go. So I've written a more detailed review somewhere. See, I write. See, Persilet's fucking doing one thing on YouTube. I write about 3 different reviews that all say different shit. Like, I might say I loved it on one and I fucking hate it on the next one on different platforms. So you never know what you're gonna get.
Now, and it's all right, but it is a very what I would call 90s citrus aromatic. Herbal, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. Well, I've only just sprayed it, but what do I know? But it doesn't feel like there's...
Yeah.
It just feels a bit like, oh, that's been done before.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it at all. I thought it was very interesting. And nice in the context of, modern perfumery, and almost like I'm kind of revisiting Etro and kind of getting into them again, because the first time I was just like, yeah, they were all right. And then lots of people that I respect, as I probably mentioned last time, have got Etros in their collection. I'm like, they must be amazing, because everyone always says, oh yeah, I've got this one or that one or whatever. So then on the Tuesday, I wore Chanel Sycamore EDT, which was sent to me. Nice. Yeah, sent to me by Rich Mitch, because the EDT is no longer available, I don't think, is it? So what did I think of it? I think it's a superior vetiver perfume. It's very good, because I'm not even that familiar with, like, if someone says Sycamore to me, I'm like, is that the vetiver one? I don't know. But I mean, it's a very, very good vetiver. As you'd expect from Chanel, it's a really, really good perfume, but it's not a particularly Chanel signature perfume, I don't think. It just in the fact that it's very, very well done. Vetiver. I mean, it's an excellent vetiver. That's all I can say about it. I thought it was really good, and that's it. And it's not a style of perfume that I particularly like. I like different kinds of vetiver to that, but I smell that and I go, yeah, good, well done. It's excellent. Then
it is very nice. Yeah, the EDP is pretty decent, but as I understand it, like. The Sycamore, and there was a few others. What's the one that smells like pissy Catwoman?
Ritzia? No.
Coromandel.
Oh, Coromandel, yeah.
Coromandel, yeah. So Coromandel also was an EDT and then got redone as an EDP. And the EDTs are just that bit sort of more vibrant.
They're all EDPs now. Unfortunately,
yeah. They're all EDPs. Yeah, the whole range are EDP now. But if you're gonna go to the trouble of hunting down old Chanel's, the Sycamore and Coromandel EDTs are worth getting hold of.
I have a feeling that they did them. They reformulated and called them all EDPs due to IFRA regs for some of them, and rather than try and get the same EDT-ness, they just called them the same name but EDP to cushion the blow of it not being quite the same. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. That could be a total lie. But that was my understanding of why it happened.
Sounds right, cool. Then I wore Iberian Leather by Memo.
Oh yeah.
I don't mean to we
have to review our sample packs, don't we?
Yeah, I mean it's one thing like when we smell them on the show and everything. I think that's a handy, useful thing to do. And a lot of the time, I haven't actually properly worn a lot of the perfumes. Like we went through all them Doucetas. Do you really think that I've worn every single one of those Doucetas? I've worn, a selection of them. And that's kind of what I'm doing with these memos. So I don't want to go into them too much because we'll talk about them again. But I found, what did I say? It was a modern leather. It's luxurious designer goods, kind of sweet accord thing. Automatically puts you in mind of certain Tom Fords and such. But in fairness, it's quite a nuanced perfume with nice complexity. And never oversteps its bounds, and is just like it's actually
polite.
It said it's not just a collection of like woody aroma chemicals which kind of break apart. This is the thing that annoys me about like a really nice perfume that starts off really good and it's got really nice top notes and stuff, and then essentially for 5 hours it'll just be, you know, ISOE Super or something. I'm like, I hate that. Do you know what I mean? And especially in a luxurious, expensive perfume, I'm like, you can do better than that. You know what I mean? And sometimes even when something's quite cheap or throwaway or shit, but it's got loads of like nice musks in, and it's got a really nice like musky dry down, that like I'm quite easily pleased, right? I am quite easily pleased. But I think,
are you really?
Believe it or not, yeah, I am.
I don't think you are.
No, I think what like Nemo, I kind of like this brand. Like everything that I've tried, I kind of really like them. And
wow,
yeah, I don't really.
That actually surprises me quite a lot.
Yeah, because they're you know, they're pretty good. So, sorry, let me come back to my list because I need to get through this because we've only done 3, sorry. Then I wore...
we'll be here all night.
Bois de Turc, which is a fragrance by our favourite glove manufacturer and perfume place.
Gantier.
Yeah, that one.
Them.
Yeah, them. Thanks for you guys saying it.
Did you say Perfume de Turc?
Yeah, Bois de Turc.
Oh,
Turkish wood.
Turkish wood.
Mm-hmm. It's excellent. It's a spicy perfume that you would imagine would smell of Turkish wood. Yeah, there's lots of jokes in there. Just fill your own dirty kind of
insert your own. Yeah, insert your own joke.
Yeah. Good. Anyway, sorry. Let me just see if there's no more on that. It's a spicy, nice, woody perfume. It's good. What the fuck am I doing? Sorry. All right. Could cut this out. I wore Jean Patou Pour Homme, the vintage.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it? Oh, dear. I know why you sold that bottle now. Yeah, because it
was a very expensive indulgence to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good.
Of course it's good. Of course it's good. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to say, it's a piece of shit. Like, I mean, it's great, but like, you know, is it 600 quid a bottle? You know, I mean, is it, you know, arguably any sort of perfume.
Is anything.
But the like vintageness and all that, I understand, yeah, it's a sought after thing. And I get that, you know, I'm not moaning about the price really, but I'm just mean like, to me, if it wasn't like super special and magic and important in my collection that I had it, then it isn't. Then I'm just like, yeah, it's not that great, to be honest. The top notes were pretty kind of non-existent in this bottle. I don't know how old it is, but it's Rich Mitch's one. And then, yeah, it's got some wonderful, great, like woody kind of masculine like tropes and stuff. But to be honest, I prefer the Privé. I've got to say, I've made copy formula of the Privé as well, and I thought it was very cool.
I've never tried the Privé.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, similar sort of lines, I suppose, but I think my bottle was newer, or my sample that I tried was newer, and it smelled way better. But anyway.
I think it's a really good perfume, and I really, I did sort of enjoy it on the sort of 2 occasions I think I ever actually wore it. But it smells. I'm not quite sure how to describe this, right? But if I compare it to, say, Derby, which smells unapologetically vintage yet somehow still contemporary. This doesn't have anything contemporary about it at all. It just smells vintage. Yeah, it just smells old, you know? And I do I mean, obviously I chased down the unicorn because it was a unicorn and, like, you know, it seemed like a good idea. And it does smell good. But I can't quite understand why that one has achieved such cult status as a sort of discontinued perfume. Derby, yes, deserves everything it gets. Patou, I'm still on the fence about it, if I'm honest.
I think it's because there was so much, essentially for women, from Patou. You know, a lot of those kind of big, like, floral perfumes and, like, you know, Joy and all that kind of stuff. And then this is kind of like his, like, man thing. And it's like, I don't know, people just sort of venerate it and like love it, don't they? But I just was like, I'm glad I'm glad that it's not amazing and like totally spellbinding because I cannot afford it, so
it's always nice.
It is good.
It's a relief.
Yeah. Anyway, then I wore French Leather by Memo, and for me, I've put this is a Houdini cheat code, which like directly bypasses any RC grizzled wanky shit that Arbiter might be tempted to utter. So there's a little excerpt from an upcoming review.
Wow.
No, that basically it's a kind of soft no, it's not that soft actually. It's a kind of rose and like bergamot and maybe that pink pepper thing of like rose that they do at the moment, but it's a very, very musky rose, and it just did like exactly enough. It's dead classy, and it just did exactly what I needed it to do. It's not like a brilliant perfume or anything, but it's just like dead musky, and it's got a nice rose accord, which you can't go wrong in my book with that. So, and it is slightly leathery. It evokes leather. Do you know what I mean? It smells like that kind of luxury like thing. So I kind of give it a pass. I hate to be, shilling for Memo, but fucking,
Well, we've got a whole episode on them. So
we need to.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The insinuations of shill will come out
against Dan. Just because that guy thinks you're a cunt and hates you, but no, I think that's really horrible. I wasn't joking about that because do you know what? If someone fucking said that shit about me, I'd be really. It would upset me. Like, so don't say it, anyone, please, because you really actually get to me. You'll do exactly what you set out to do, and you'll really upset me. So fucking don't. All right, don't. So anyway,
right.
Then I wore Etro Palais Jamais, which was another one that I was just I kept texting fucking Rich Mitch going, what is this Palais Jamais, what is this shit, because he didn't put Etro on it, and they were all just turned out to be Etros, and I was like, yeah, this is really good as well. I think it's an incense one. Let me just I've got a here it is. Yeah, okay, so I found I said it's a unique prospect, which I don't like to use that word lightly. I've not really smelled a fragrance like this before. I said it's aromatic, it's lightly herbal, floral in the opening. Sounds a bit vague, but it has like real impact. Like it really, this is the one that I was like really, and then I think the only thing that I think I can detect for sure is vetiver. It's a bit like scratchy and sort of raspy, but generally it's like a light smoky woodiness. It's got a kind of soapy but sort of elegant, like Italian style sort of thing to it, which Etro is an Italian brand actually, so it's not really surprising. And I said I love it. And yeah, I just think that like Etro, all those Etros, even that one that was a bit kind of mediocre before, they're all really good. And it's good to revisit them now. And because I think they're reasonably affordable and available-ish, but they're just really good. It's I just like, if you haven't tried, have you tried them, Dan? Etro?
No, I've not tried anything by it.
I think you'd really like Etro. I really do. I think anybody who is into perfume, Fliss, Ben, anybody, you'll like Etro. I think just generally overall, You'll go, that's a good brand. That.
I'll go and check some.
Cool. Then I wore Memo Inley. I want to say Inley. It's probably Inl.
Inley? Is that in North Yorkshire?
Inil.
Inil?
Yeah.
Inil.
It's INLE with a little accent on. Ben, you tried these, didn't you? I don't want to like spurt our load from the other week. Did you like this one?
Yes, no, I tried them all. Like briefly, yes, I liked all of them
in parts. Okay.
We'll leave it at that. I'll save my real thoughts for like the episode, but yeah,
well,
briefly,
I liked
it.
Inley because it's osmanthus, so it's a very fresh, like powdery, bright apricot, peachy osmanthus thing in the opening, and it's actually really good. It's nice, like sort of sweetness to it, and kind of it's sort of bit like bergamot or something as well, and then it goes into this kind of floral accord, which is just kind of like it's cool, and yeah, kind of again sort of bit of musky kind of dry down. So yeah, did quite like it quite a bit. Yeah, I really like Osmanthus. Like, I really like it. Anyway, Etro Messe de Minuit. Do we know what that means?
Messe de Minuit. Yeah. Something small or
midnight mass.
Oh, midnight mass. Okay, nowhere.
So, what do you think?
Is that Christmas? That'll be the incense.
Yeah, that's the incensey one. And I don't even have to look at the notes to remember this one, because it was a kind of really brutal kind of olibanum. Might be labdanum, but it's a little bit like brighter and kind of like LME, that kind of like fizzy sort of ridiculous kind of thing. But it's got loads of other like substance and like guts to it and like woodiness and a sort of weird chocolate orangey sort of flavour to it as well, like really orangey, a little bit kind of chocolatey. I don't know whether that's like patchouli or something, but again, it's an etro and it's an incense perfume, because I'm normally like, yeah, okay, loads of people into like these incense perfumes that are really good, but they're all essentially just little tweaks of each other and kind of still the same thing, whereas this like does, to me, have quite a different, just even the way it wears throughout the day, you know. Yeah, so I think it's very good. Midnight Mass by
I think that's the thing with those incense perfumes, isn't it, is that like that they're almost so brutal and almost, they're not simple, but you know, the focus is relatively simple, that they all kind of tend to become like one, like variations on a very simple theme, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I have to agree. Whereas this is more creative. It's more like, it's not even thinking about being like, this is the thing that I like. It's got that kind of weird sort of aloof, like, I don't care. It's almost like Henry Jacques, but in like a more sort of arty, like cool way, rather than like, oh, fuck off, you haven't got the money to like, you know, whatever. It's more like, oh, I'm too fucking arty and cool to like hang around with you, which is arguably a bit better, is it? I don't know. But no, it's kind of like, yeah, etro is sort of like saying, we don't care about the trends. And in actual fact, they were probably around like before the trends. These probably came out before stuff like Avignon or, you know, whatever. So it was just kind of doing whatever it was. Maybe it didn't. But I think it's just very good. It's just very good perfumery and interesting. It doesn't just do the same thing for like 9 hours and you're like, okay, that was cool 9 hours ago. Then I wore Serge Lutens' Baptism Au
Fucking
Feu,
amazing.
which is the baptism. Oh, what a perfume! What a perfume! And it's like, it's for people who like things that are just really like, just give you the fucking bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Just like everything, like the kitchen sink thrown at it. It doesn't give a fuck. And yeah, it's baptism of fire. Do you know what I mean?
It's bright
is
red
exactly
as
what
well,
it is.
isn't it? The juice is like dark red. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Its aura is just fucking bright red.
I've definitely never tried that one.
It's like metallic, very spicy, but then it's got this huge like haunting of like old woman, fucking some kind of like crazy fucking Miss Havisham fucking ghost. I don't know, like weird violet kind of like creepiness that just suddenly comes out of it. There you go. Look at the state of that. Yeah, and it's just wonderful. And talk about like something doing different for like hours at a time. It's kind of like, yeah, like really orange. Again, it's another orange, like almost like blood orange with like fucking bits of tinfoil like on your fillings. Do you know what I mean? It's just like going, oh, and pissy. Yeah, it's great. You know, it's great. So yeah,
this is one of the like. I mean, this would probably go down in the 2000s when we start talking about like that era, but. This was one of the first perfumes I smelled that made me think like, fuck, like dirty, pissy stuff is like where it's at. Like I remember smelling this and just like, it blew my mind, like how fucking just filthy and sexy it is. It's like, it's like carnal.
Yeah,
like
I love it.
It's hideous. It's amazing.
But like I say, this kind of weird, like the violet that like comes out of it, it's almost like the violet that comes out of Youth Dew or like something like really old school that just has this like thing that just comes out of nowhere. It's brilliant, and it's very much in that whole like Surge, Sheldrake, like kind of, you know, Wonder Group, fucking whatever.
Have you seen the marketing for it and like
so
what it
anyway,
was based on and stuff? Like it's based on like a fun fair, and then it's got like shooting ranges and stuff, and there's like stuff about it being about like mass shootings and stuff or something. It's I don't know what it's about. Yeah, bizarre.
I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad it's about mass shootings, but I'm glad it's like something weird like that, because that definitely.
Well, yeah, it talks about like the taste of blood in the mouth and like gingerbread and candy floss and fun fairs and fireworks, and it's just like what?
Well, I love ginger, and there's so much like gingery, like it's just it's awesome. Anyway, then I wore Mizoni Uomo, which is a men's classic perfume from 1985. I found it a little bit, it's good, but again, it was a little bit like slightly underwhelming in a sense, although it did have intact top notes and they were very nice and good, and so not a lot to say about that really. I wish I could kind of go on a bit more about it, because it's a sort of sought after kind of, you know, old 85 beers. Then I wore Anatoly Le Breton, L'eau Scandaleuse, and I'm looking at Fliss and what she's saying about this one. You don't know it?
I don't know it.
Well, I think you'll like it. I think you're gonna like it. Yeah, because it's tuberose and like castoreum, kind of like. Ooh. It's a bit of a dirty bird. It is. Yeah, it is. It's kind of modern though, so it's not like dead over the top. I actually found it very pleasant in terms of like floral and not particularly dirty to me. But every person that I came across in that day, including my mum, who opened the car door and was outside the car, she was like 6 feet away from me, outside the car, she went, "You smell of poo." Instantly, right? She just said, "You smell like poo today." That was her first like words, and I was like, yeah, it probably does a little bit, because I could tell it was really indolic and stuff, even though I couldn't smell poo myself. I was like, no doubt it probably does smell of poo. This is what it is. Understand it, embrace it, get in the car, get used to it, and we'll get to where we're going.
Love your mum. I love your mum's reviews. I think we should get her on, to be fair.
That would be
James's mum, your husband.
Awkward.
We could just swap us all out one day, day for like different people. That would be fucking brilliant. So
like the Simpsons or something.
So anyway, it's a fantastic like tuberose kind of jasmine thing, and but a certain amount of like modernity. It's kind of leathery. It's got like a definite like stinky indolic thing to it. And Anatoly Le Breton, a brand that somebody said to me like ages ago, "Oh, have you tried any Anatoly Le Bretons?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm going to get a whole sample set." And then for some reason, it was a massive ball ache to get them, because they don't really sell them in the UK. And for some reason, I think it was a bit of a Henri Jacques situation where they were like, ooh, like, all French and shit, and don't want to send me shit. But what a brand. Like, that's the first and only one I've tried. And I'm like, yeah, they already get it. Apparently, it's quite similar to the L'Histoire du Parfum one. Do you know their tuberose? Is it called tuberose scan?
Which one? They've got 3. They've got tuberose 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, well, I don't know.
What?
One of those.
That's very inventive naming.
One of those they've said.
It's tuberose virginal, tuberose capricciose, and tuberose animal.
Animal, I think it is.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, it's me with my knowledge.
I think it's animal.
Get you knowing shit.
Animal.
I do have animal. I find it a bit cloying. I find it that particular one is a bit sweet, and it's a lot of incense in it, and so I don't actually find it as animalic as I want it to be.
You might find this the same, because I didn't find it too animalic in terms of wearing. Like I say, when you first put it on, you're like, yeah, okay, there's definitely something there. But it did sweeten up and go much more sort of fun-loving and carefree and whatever, and we don't like that, do we?
No, we don't.
No. Then I wore Ubagant Fougere Royale, which got me like unbelievable amounts of compliments from like loads of people on Bonfire. No, the night before Bonfire Night, we went out to see some like fireworks and shit.
Do love Fougere.
Oh, what a great perfume. I mean, it's very patchouli. I think the patchouli makes it, to be honest, because it's just a very, 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 very good Fougere accord, the classic mixture, whatever you want to call it, with this kind of relentless patchouli that just kind of like goes but in a really good way, and just keeps it all. It's brilliant. Like,
I find it does not last at all on me though. I mean, I can literally spray half a bottle of that shit and it'll be gone in an hour or two.
That's unfortunate for you, but I'd like to say I kind of I did reapply it on that day, but not because it had gone. I think just because I wanted to just fucking have more of it. But yeah, no, I'm sad to hear that. But mine lasts like a fucking demon on me. So
it is a very I mean it is, I guess. Well, in some sense, it is the archetypal sort of masculine fougere, isn't it? But
anyway,
right.
Then I wore something today called Cuvée, which I don't know what it is. I did text Rich Mitch. Let's see if he's got back to me. I did try and Google it, which to no avail. It's an old Ferrari fragrance. Ferrari, and then this otter doing a kind of surprised expression. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So
good.
Wow.
So I don't know which.
Really good.
Ferrari
It's
one,
excellent.
It's not
Is it?
Infragrantica.
It smells.
No.
It smells Italian. You know what I was saying before?
Like a Ferrari.
Right. What the weird thing is, I've just written a little review for it somewhere. Come on, where is it? Goes from a spill and the washing powder and dishwasher salt aisle in a very soapy Italian way into like a kind of butch, sort of leathery, mossy, masculine kind of thing, and then that weird haunty violets thing that I was saying about from Baptism of Fire comes in this as well, but like almost the same thing, and just it's really good. I love it. I'm wearing it today. I'm really happy with it, and I may even be seeking out a thing. And sometimes when people say that something smells a bit like Fahrenheit or whatever, I'm like, nothing really smells like Fahrenheit. What you're saying is it's got a violet note, or it's got some of the other things that are in Fahrenheit, perhaps. Do you know what I mean? But most of the time it's not. It's just, it smells vaguely of like violets or whatever. This does actually have like, I don't know whether it's something combining the mossiness, the like something evoking a kind of fuely, petrol-y sort of thing, but it definitely has a bit more of the Fahrenheit spirit than most things that people might describe that way. So anyway, that's today, and that is the full 14 done.
Ferrari Cuvée Extra Rich.
Is that what it's called?
Eau de Toilette Extra Rich is 135
Fucking hell.
on Etsy.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Is it that good?
I get it though. I like it personally, but I think you might go when you smell it, especially from a distance. When you first like spray it, you go, "This smells like fucking," like say, like washing powder or something. It's got like this, like mad sort of like uber hyper soapy like thing to it that you might not be into, but put it on your skin and you'll be rewarded.
There's a 30ml one for 73.
It's still it is a bit of a punt because, like, you know,
bit punty. Yeah. Although I am up for punts. Although increasingly, I I sort of swerved away from punting on like vintage stuff because I just don't know what the fuck it's going to end up smelling like. You know, it's just one of them things. All right. Well, look, we seem to have arrived somehow at the end of part 1. And if I could leave everyone with this thought, anything is a butt plug if you try hard enough. We'll be back.
So it's not even suppositories now, it's butt plugs. Like, suppositories at least are for like a medical use. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like you're in it for the pleasure now. Yeah.
That's all everyone's going to think about now. We're scanning the room.
The suppositories were literally a gateway drug.
We'll be back in part 2.
Oh,
stick with us. Hello and welcome back to Les Oderants. This week we are being deliberately contrary. You see, we had intended to record a spooky Halloween edition and release it on or around Halloween, but as Halloween was about a week ago, and it will be another week before we release this, we're nowhere near. But fuck it, let's do it anyway. Let's talk about darkness. Let's talk about darkness and evil and all nasty things. Because I think it's a really interesting sort of, idea within perfumery and art in general, right? Is this sort of, this idea of evil and nastiness and all that kind of thing. And so I kind of wanted to start by asking, what brands do you think have these sort of evil, nasty backstories or whatever?
Montal.
Sorry?
You just said Montal.
Yeah, I mean that. I think I would probably file Montal in fantasy fiction rather than dark and evil. But I mean, I know certainly, there are brands that have done some, I guess, limited stuff around this. The one that obviously springs to mind for me is the range that Ben has mentioned by Cinquecanto, which is a Terenzi line, which are all based on, I think it's famous poisoners or something.
Female poisoners, yeah.
Female poisoners. That was... that was certainly a dark and sort of nasty type thing. And I keep saying the word dark. I guess there must be other words like evil and
macabre.
Macabre. Love it. So what brands? I mean, this should be your speciality area, really, Ben, because this is very much your jam.
Perfumes
but not
with
really.
A whiff
of nastiness.
I mean, Beaufort, I suppose you could say, is there to an extent. I definitely think they embrace, some of their stories are not always about the darker side of things, but they're clearly embracing it, like with their imagery and their artwork and things like that. So, I mean, Beaufort would probably be the one that I can think off the top of my head on my shelf. Then you had that line with that crazy guy who wrote those super long ones, and one of them was about
that one.
the Lambs, things like that. And I mean, Serge Louton, I would say a lot of his are some pretty like dark stuff. I mean, De Profundis for a start is, I mean, so many of Serge Louton's are about death, aren't they? Like death, mourning, funerals, things like that.
Being an orphan, standing on
needles. Yeah.
Being a cool girl in Berlin. Yes.
Yeah.
Jolly, jolly, jolly.
Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've been a cool girl in Berlin, but I think with these suppositories, I may get back into it. I mean, is it brands or is it kind of perfumes or perfumers that have got a sort of warped mind? They're just... I don't know, there's a sort of... In modern culture, there's obviously an ongoing fascination with horror movies and the macabre and I mean, your entire professional podcast is in some sense based on this, Ben, is this kind of obsession with darkness and such, and it feels like there must be some element of crossover. I did ask people on Facebook about this, and obviously I got kind of some other fairly predictable responses around the what's that jizz fragrance, secretions magnifique and stuff.
But I don't know if that's actually dark, though, is it? I think that the secretions magnifique is about sex, isn't it? It's fucked up, but I think it's about sex. Whereas I think something like Sombre by Prin, that's dark. If you read the story for Secretions Magnifique, it's just all about, bodies and stuff. Whereas the story for Sombre is just like vomit and murder and blah. And there's a difference, isn't there, between something that's bodily but could potentially be a body that's enjoying itself and just a body that's dead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping on too far ahead, and sort of progressing it to an abstract place too quickly, but I think sometimes
go for it.
Well, I think sometimes it's what you make of the perfume yourself, right? So to chuck it out there, like Laudanum Nero, right, by Tiziano Terenzi, is a dark smelling perfume, dark woods and things like that. Now I smelled that, and to me, I was like, there's this dusty antique furniture, and almost like I could almost get this like straight away image in this sort of Victorian parlour full of smackheads doing opium or something, But then I actually read what it was about, and it's about
Bacchanalian. Is that the word for that? Bacchanalian.
I don't know. Is it?
I think that's. It
sounds
word.
Nice though. Let's say it is. Yeah, it's definitely Bacchanalian.
Yeah.
But then I read about what it actually was about, and it's about French boulevards in the rain. And
really?
Yeah, and sort of Parisian cafes and things, and unless I'm getting it, misreading what they wrote, but it's based on a painting which I forget now, but it's a lovely painting of one of the famous streets in Paris at night. But it's nothing dark really. But to me, that perfume is definitely Sherlock Holmesy, from hell, in an opium den, grotty, dusty, dark wood, crushed velvet curtains, that kind of thing. So, is it what? So I guess what I'm saying is, do we bring that side to it, or are they? There are obviously some perfumes who flirt with it, but there are other perfumes that perhaps we bring that to it ourselves.
I think that absolutely must be the case, and I remember you saying when we talked about the soapy notes, aldehydes, and you talking about almost like the somber sort of
smell of sadness, he said.
Almost smell of sadness. Yes, well done, Fliss. Smell of sadness. Yeah. And so there is something very much about what we project onto it. But I mean, I don't know how about this, because friend of the show, Brandon, sent me a link to a perfume brand called Toscavat. Have you ever heard of Toscavat? So Toscavat have a perfume called Inexcusable Evil, and I'd like you to hear the description. And I think after I've read this, I may punch myself in the face, because actually I find this deeply pretentious and irritating. But today I remembered destruction. The pain of life often makes me forget. I don't know why I'm talking.
No,
like
do it.
The pain of life. It's just like a really low-rent Mancunian bane. The pain of life often makes me forget the more disgusting pain of having it taken. Fallen buildings on the news, crying babies, burnt flowers, memories lost, tears drowned, coffees never shared. At least I have iodine on my wounds and crutches left to use. But what about those that don't? The next war will decide not what is right, but what is left. Hate all governments, love all people.
Oh God!
So I mean, they obviously they can go fuck themselves with that. But here's the notes: gunpowder, ozone, blood, bandages, iodine, burning flowers, guaiac wood, Copaiba?
It's a resin.
Copaiba
I
oil?
think so.
Is that right? Nagamortha, fallen concrete. You can't have a note of fallen concrete, you knobhead. Rain, incense, sandalwood. It sounds horrible, and it sounds deeply like. Is that?
I thought that sounded fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, but then I love
tell.
because Nagamortha is Cypriol, isn't it? I fucking love Cypriol. Yeah.
Does that sound so sort of profoundly pretentious as to be sort of rendered kind of, moot? Or does it sound like maybe this guy's just tapped into the ultimate seam of darkness?
But then...
No, it sounds ridiculous.
But does it, though? Because then you have to start thinking about, darkness in art in general. So you've got... especially some of the Spanish artists at the turn of the 10th century, they were doing some really tough stuff to look at. You look at someone like Francis Bacon, there's some of his portraits are really hard to look at. That doesn't mean, just because you don't want to have it on your wall for Sunday lunch, doesn't mean it's good art. So then if you're going to say that perfume is an art, we then have to accept that some of the stuff that we smell, some of these expressions of these artists, of these perfumers, isn't all going to be nice. Some of it's going to be fucking ugly. It doesn't mean it has to be worn. It doesn't have to be worn regularly. It doesn't have to be worn on a Sunday when you meet your mum. But at some point, we have to accept that perfume isn't pretty, and that there's an art, an expression of a perfume underneath it that is a good thing that it's in the world.
We do. But... no, there's no but.
It doesn't stop it that whole load of stuff sounding like a pretentious wanker, because it did sound really pretentious.
No, I don't think so. I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head, because that's what everybody who's into it for any experience, a sort of extended period of time, you do become... you need to sort of challenge yourself, or need to go back to understanding why you loved perfumery so much in the first place, rather than it just being always having to appeal to even just your own sensibilities or taste or whatever. It doesn't. It's good to take yourself outside of that and appreciate things in that truly artistic way of it's not comfortable for me to look at this image or smell this way, but I'm going to do it because it enriches me as a human being, and it makes me experience something else that we're all crying out to experience. So I think there's a lot to be said for that.
But have you experienced a perfume that does that for you? That you sort of go, well, this is not comfortable, but I feel like it's improving me as a person.
Well, we've already spoken about, it's a bit of a cliche, but Secretions Magnifique, because that was one that was so well documented that there was reaction videos. It was kind of the first one that was sort of within that period of time where you could be part of this social media sort of newer kind of generation of shit, that there was people reacting to it and stuff, and I feel as though I'm the biggest open mind in terms of any kind of concept or idea. I'm willing to try it, and not only do that but be willing to love it as well. But it just totally makes me feel uncomfortable still now, and I can't wear it. And I'm sad that I can't, because I don't have that visceral immediate reaction that some people do, where they go, oh, it's horrible, blah, blah. I'm absolutely reeling at the fact that this is a perfume that's been made by somebody, and it does convey all these amazing, weird, creepy, sexual kind of stuff and all that. And it makes you feel oh wow, this is opening your horizons to stuff. Maybe there's something that satisfies that, but also satisfies my need to have something that I can wear. And do you know what I mean? So it's not always you feel as though this is kind of broadening my horizons, but it's not meaning that I'm going to start gravitating towards stuff like this. It just means that it maybe opens up a little bit more of this kind of vibe to my normal palette of stuff that I like. And I think certainly that one anyway, specifically talking about the Secretions Magnifique, it was one of those that it just wears so oppressively that you can't get away from it. Even when you scrub it off, I could still smell it. It was like it infected me, and I think that was kind of the intent, I think. So I just think, I mean, there's plenty more. Like, I can't really. That's one that's particularly memorable because it's a big name that people will know. I don't want to say something sort of obscure that might be like, no one's tried it, but most people will have tried that and will understand that kind of. I hate to say this word because I hate this fucking modern bullshit of like people say, "Oh, I've got the ick." Do you know what I mean? When they say this is like new ick shit, it's like fuck off. Yeah, exactly. Like fuck off with that ick bullshit. But no, it is. I know what I mean. Like that kind of icky, like feeling, and that conveys that perfectly. That perfume.
But I think there's like two branches of this in like they're quite profoundly different because, like, on one hand, like you've got Tonnerre, like Beaufort Tonnerre, which for me is probably the most oppressive perfume I've smelled. There's not a single thing in that perfume which you would say is pretty. Like Fliss was saying, like it starts horrible and it continues to be horrible. And 6 hours later,
barbecue limey sort of.
That's it, yeah. And like 10 hours later, you still just smell like an old like bonfire and want to like kill yourself. It's just absolutely oppressive. But it's brilliant. So there's that branch, but then there's the other branch of things like De Profundis, like I was mentioning, which is actually really beautiful and very pretty, but there's something starkly morbid about it. So I think that, like, although they're both sort of reach the same place, they reach it in a very different way. But I really love like the idea of like things being ugly and still attractive. Like in my like making the music that I enjoy making is just sheer harsh noise, and the whole point is because I think I want it to create anxiety in people that are listening to it and feel like horrible about it. But I feel like we celebrate things that make us go, oh, that's nice, that's happy. That I look at that piece of art and it makes me feel great, or I smell this perfume and it smells nice. But that's just another emotion. It's just another side of the coin. If you smell a perfume and you think, fuck, this smells hideous, that's still created that emotion in you. So why do we celebrate one and we shirk the other? I don't understand, because they're both moving you to feel something, and that is the ultimate goal in my opinion.
I think that's...
No, I was just going to say they're equally valid. It's like that thing of like people say, oh yeah, have kids. Yeah, it's amazing. It's the most rewarding thing in life. But you're always worried about them getting ill or fucking dying or whatever. I hate to go like really dark, but that is the truth, that you're like with great power comes great like responsibility. You also worry. You've also got that like kind of like morbid sort of like grim side to it, as well as the kind of amazing sort of euphoric kind of like feelings that you get from like doing amazing things. You've got to have that. It's like that kind of duality to everything, because it makes you appreciate the really pretty nice things more. And arguably would you appreciate it as much if there wasn't that kind of like dark side to it? So why not embrace that as well? I'm trying to say something. I don't know if I'm saying it, but yeah.
I think I think that makes a lot of sense, and I guess one of the interesting things about being into, in inverted commas, perfume, right, is that you very quickly move beyond the desire to simply smell attractive to the opposite sex, or to smell quote unquote pleasant, right? You start looking for more creative, more innovative, different experiences, and like music, right? The more fragmented and kind of down a niche and rabbit hole you go, you may well get drawn into darker corners of that. I mean, for me, I find it very difficult to wear a perfume that I hate. And I don't mean like a perfume like the new YSL Myself, which I hate for being the egregious kind of awful that it is, but a perfume that actually sort of makes me feel physically kind of ill. And a great example of that for me is Silence the Sea. Right? That to me was just horrific experience. And I use the word. I know. It is weird because some people just interpret that as a nice, sea salty sort of thing. But for me, it was a genuinely horrifying, and I use that word very explicitly, a horrifying experience, because it just smelt like death and decay, and I couldn't wear it. And I guess what I'm sort of interested in is, can you guys personally, can you wear things that maybe fill you with dread or revulsion just because you're enjoying the exhilaration of that sort of emotion? Can you do that, or do you just go, no, sorry, I can only wear stuff that actually makes me think I smell nice, because I'm stuck a little bit in the I will only want to smell nice corner?
I think I can chart my perfume wearing as pushing the boundaries again and again and again and again and again. And while I haven't got to the point where I would wear Silence the Sea for any length of time, I mean, I regularly say when I think something's a scrubber, because if I don't like something, I don't push through it, I scrub it off. However, there are things in my collection now that I think 5 or 10 years ago would never have been there. Things like Marbet, which is hugely animalic. Things like Oud Infini, which is hugely oody, and I'm not a big oud freak. But I think both of those are examples of things I definitely wouldn't, if I'd have smelt them 5 or 10 years ago, there's no way I'd have worn them. And now Marbet I regularly wear to bed because I find it so animalic and warm and cozy. But when I first smelled it, I was like, "Oh, that's a bit much."
It's like curling up in the burrow with with the rest of the animals, isn't it? It's
oddly enough, it is the perfume that I wear if I've had a bad day and I'm almost feeling like I want to lick my wounds. It really does feel like that. Yeah. And there's something about the zoo. There's a sort of zoological nature of the animalics in that, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't got to the place where I would wear Silence the Sea for a whole day, but I do see my sense of smell and my sense of how I express myself and how I make sense of my day, particularly at the end of the day, through more challenging perfumes.
See, because I've got Silence the Sea, thank you to Dan, who was very stupidly kindly sent me it, but like I do wear it.
It wasn't an act of kindness.
But I do wear it, and I love it. And I love it precisely because it's disgusting. And then, again, like, I don't smell it and go, "Cool, this makes me like, oh, lovely flowers," or anything. I don't get that same feeling. I feel like, oh, can you smell that? But then that reaction makes me go, yeah, I can. Isn't that great? Like it's I don't know. It's almost like, yeah, it smells rancid, but the fact that it smells rancid is almost like the joy. Like it's almost like, wow, it does smell like that. Like I don't know. I guess I get the same joy from it as smelling, for example, the Chabot one. When I smelled that earlier and was like, oh, it smells like rice pudding. That's fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's like pudding. Oh wow! Like the fact that it evokes those kind of memories or whatever is the joy. That's the bit that I like.
So like Rothko, you could look at Rothko's work and you could almost feel how tormented his soul was. By looking at these weird, rather simplistic blocks of kind of colour, you could sort of feel this kind of inner torment. I don't know, maybe I'm projecting, but for me, that's how it works. I sort of look at them and you just sort of like, oh my God. Are there perfumers who you can feel like the inner workings of their soul through their work? Because, I mean, you take someone like Gorillaz, Alberto Morillas, right? Yeah. I get nothing. I get no sense of his personality through his work. I just get a series of different smells, and some of them are quite nice, and clearly he's very competent with what he does. But there's nothing that says, here is my personality. And I'm wondering who are the perfumers that maybe you feel more of that personality connect through?
I feel like you get that a lot with indie perfumers because they have not been like almost like smoothed over because of like their career hasn't like they haven't found themselves like that they're raw.
They don't have to answer to a focus group, so they are literally they're not trying to sell their work in terms of like mass producing it for a mass art market. They're selling, you know,
and sometimes their messages are kind of not subtle. You know what I mean? Like they're because they haven't learned. That's a bit horrible, like patronising maybe, but they don't really operate in the realm of subtlety a lot of the time.
Very on the nose.
You know what I mean?
In more ways than one.
I mean, in terms of like big perfumers, I would say Sheldrake is like for me, it's like the obvious one as someone who I feel like puts a lot of himself into his work. I mean, I'm sure every perfumer would say they do.
How much of that is Serge Tonzo as well? Do you know what I mean? I know, obviously, Sheldrake.
That's exactly
well, the thing is, because obviously
is he interpreting?
Well, yeah, I mean, he did stuff for Chanel, didn't he? Sheldrake. He's was respected like before that, but that's obviously been his kind of vocation of being this, in-house perfumer for Serge Lutens, and. It's interesting to know what that dynamic is. And in actual fact, it's probably more interesting that there's a bit of mystique around that dynamic that they will never quite know. And it's the same with, I just, at this point, I'd just like to mention, because it's fresh in my mind. I tried a perfume a long time ago, probably, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, I don't know, called Tears of Eros by Paul Schutzer.
Think you mentioned this before.
Paul Schutzer is actually a famous artist. He's actually more famous for being an artist. I think he's a photographer and kind of visual sort of guy. He's a German guy, but he's based in London. And he did a perfume line. And, yes, they're all creative and interesting and whatever, but Tears of Eros has just stayed with me. I mean, I'm just looking at the notes now. It's ambergris, benzoin, cardamom, cedar, incense, green clementine, guaiac wood, hyacinth, labdanum, orris, and pink pepper. And mate, it's like the maddest thing. And talking about dark, right? It kind of reminds me of I called it like heavy metal hyacinths, right? That was my kind of like tagline for my review of it. And it reminds me of like, like the Trooper, like the Iron Maiden cover, like of him like clutch, like Eddie clutching that like Eddie flag or whatever it is. Imagine that was just like a bunch of hyacinths, right? that is this perfume, right? It is fucking madness, right?
Wow.
And I can't stop thinking about it to the point where I'm actually on the website now going, I can't really afford it at the moment, but I might treat myself for Christmas because I keep going on about this perfume. But when am I ever going to wear it? I pretty much hate hyacinths, right? My mum's got some kind of issue, just to big up my mum again, bring her into the podcast.
They're quite funereal, aren't they?
Hyacinths. Well, my mum has like hyacinth like bulbs, and they grow every year, and she kind of like puts them in the porch because they've got some horrible issue with the drains where it just smells of shit as you're like going into a house. So I kind of get this vague, like, it's to cover up the smell of shit, so I'm kind of like, I don't know whether my association with that is why I hate hyacinth so much. I don't know. But this perfume is so hyacinthy and so metal, that kind of like I was saying about Baptism of Fire before, and other stuff that's going on in it. It's green, it's kind of incensey, it's resinous. It's a really, really strange perfume. And it's from a guy who, we need to like get him on and talk about things. Is my mic still working okay?
But I think maybe you say you couldn't, you say
it is.
You wouldn't wear it now. But I thought that about Marbet, and I had 2 samples, and I wore it. The first time I wore it, I thought, oh my God, that's really challenging. I'm never going to wear that on a regular basis. Within 2 weeks, I'd used up both samples and I'd bought a bottle. And just the wearing of it changes your perception of how tough
and then
it
you'd start wearing it more.
Sometimes I think. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is just a fluffy pussy kitten. I'm on to the next thing. Where can I go from here?
And I think that's a really useful point to make for this whole discussion, because that is the truth of the matter, that the things that were like the taboo or the weird suddenly become like completely accepted when you wear them more, you know?
And that's how you get freaks down the rabbit hole, I'm afraid. That's how you end up listening to heavier and heavier metal, to more violent and
intravenous drugs or boofing or whatever.
It's always the way. Boofing, and that, my friends, is how you end up shoving painkillers up your arse. God, doesn't this feel like a dark episode?
We'll have to put some kind of disclaimer on the start, like drug references, fucking weird references to like,
Bumhole
didn't
references.
Like Ben say something about putting kids up his arse or something?
Yeah.
Which I've never done.
Well, it's okay if you put them up your arse. It's the other way around that's frowned upon.
It's all hypothetical.
Anyway. Okay.
Good.
Maybe
Right,
get rid of
Fliss
that.
looks absolutely. Fliss looks like she's basically going to like just.
It's too dark.
Let's
Too
rein it
dark,
in.
guys.
Bring it back.
Okay.
Light and airy.
So let's lift it up a little. Well,
I don't think it does need to be light and airy, but I just think we should just give the paedophilia.
Perhaps. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a true story. My PayPal was suspended because a friend of mine sent me a PayPal payment and thought it'd be amusing to put on the reference. Thanks, payment for paedophilic library services or something. It's like, why would you do this? And ironically, it was my account that got suspended,
Not his.
It's just mental. Anyway, it was restored shortly after, and then subsequently banned again for apparently running some sort of lottery, but which was not even true. But there you go. Right, let's lift it up a little bit. Let's talk about famous scary characters and what perfumes they might wear. And I know sent this person is like a fucking old ass like fragcom trope, but I'm interested, right? Bane versus Batman. What are these motherfuckers wearing perfume? What was that, Fliss? You suddenly got interested. Bane and Batman?
Well, I was thinking about what Batman would wear actually today.
Bane is like that Lone Star Memories tower, something like that, something sort of like deserty and dusty and fireplacey.
Yes.
I think Batman wears Kuros.
Born in the darkness. Batman wears Kuros right in the middle of his forehead.
Yeah, he does. He totally does.
Have you ever smelled Memoir by Amouage? Memoir Man, possibly. Is it called Memoir? Yeah.
Yes, I have. Does it say
Surely Batman would be wearing zoologist bat.
No, too obvious.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's too obvious.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah, bye then. Batman, I reckon Batman would be wearing fucking T-Rex by...
Zoologist.
Zoologist, yeah. So the absolute peak of alpha fucking... predator.
But he's not just Batman, is he? He's also very rich in that lair, so he's got that sort
He'd be wearing Henry Jacques
around. He's a tortured
he wouldn't get KB for a fucking slip, would he?
It's more than just being Batman. He's got that, his alter ego as well. That is, you've got to be thinking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet he could get sent a blotter.
Just that's what you want to do, Fliss. Just go, hi, it's Bruce Wayne. Use your acting skills. There you go. Use them acting skills to do your Bruce Wayne.
Hard leather. What's it? Mazzoni, isn't it? Lauren Mazzoni. Hard leather. That's a Batman fragrance.
Oh my God! Well, that's interesting, right? It's a good point that Fliss makes, right? You have to, whatever fragrance Batman is wearing, you have to be able to segue between the light and the dark.
Yeah, because he's Bruce Wayne as well.
Be able to, and presumably when he changes his Yeah, when he changes his outfit, presumably he doesn't have time to shower and change his cologne. So he has to have a cologne that is
goes both ways.
Sorry, did I say cologne?
You did.
Please punch me in the fucking gob. We are not American. He has to have a fragrance, a perfume that is satisfactory for both light and dark. Maybe he wears those. Oh Christ! What are those hewn rocks? Oh, come on, James, you know the range.
Oh,
light and dark,
Neanderthal.
us and them.
Yeah, Neanderthal.
Neanderthal.
I've got a little perfume.
Yeah.
I've got a little sample set of those right here. I might put one on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to know what you make of them.
Light, dark.
Try
us,
them.
Wow. Which one shall I try? Okay, here we go. I'll tell you if Batman wears it.
What about Vetiver
Go on, Ben.
Oriental by Serge Luton? It's a dark vetiver, but it's got lovely dark chocolate. A little bit sweet, very sophisticated.
So I feel like I have done myself and everybody who listens to this podcast a massive disservice by never really investing any time or energy in Serge Luton fragrances. I feel like I'm going to just have to go and spend like a few days immersing myself in the Serge Luton universe because, you guys talk about them so much and they're clearly so influential on so many things. But yeah, I mean, I think I could describe Amber Sultan and maybe the musky one that smells like dick.
Kubla Khan.
5 o'clock Ocean Jaune.
Kubla Khan, yeah, that's the one.
All right.
I don't think I've tried it. I don't know.
Fliss doesn't look happy with this.
Very limited experience with the brand.
Well, it's not that I'm happy with it. It's just completely not what I was expecting for something that Batman might wear. I'm finding it very clean,
Isn't
very
it?
ozonic. There's a lot of violet in there.
Was it Anton Lai did those? Or was
it's
No.
Ewan McCall.
Yeah.
Ewan McCall? Oh, he's
right.
the guy who owns that Scottish brand.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, it's lovely. It's very, very fresh and clean, and Batman does not smell like this.
Well, maybe Bruce Wayne does.
Got to think about it. He's a Playboy millionaire
Maybe.
as well, billionaire, whatever.
Billionaire.
He is
also
a
angry,
playboy,
isn't he?
though. He's so
He-
angry. He's a dark, tortured person. He's not going out and like living it up in that way. He's always brooding. This is
My
very
parents
nice.
are dead.
Yeah,
Can
my
I just-
parents are dead. I need a sprinkle of on my forehead.
Yes, Kuros right in the middle of the bunts. That's how you do it, motherfuckers.
What
Right,
about
well,
Bane?
Batman
We didn't
clearly
do
isn't the
many,
most evil
Banes,
of
'cause,
all characters.
I was born in the
Oh, yeah,
dark.
Bane. Oh, well, Ben
There's a
gave
lot
us
of,
a
I was
low
born in
star.
the dark.
You merely co-opted the
I was bummed. I was boofing in it.
No shit, I went to see that
Boofing.
film at the cinema and I honestly didn't understand a word he said, and I came out at the end of it and was like...
Bane is clearly the most ridiculous voice ever. I mean, and it's made worse by the fact he's got a mask.
Yeah, you can't even see his mouth moving,
Actually,
yeah.
figure
There's
out
no-
you can't lip read. He sounds like that phone jacket
Brian
character.
Yeah.
That's it, Brian Badonky.
Yeah, that was Brian
yes.
Sewell, wasn't it? Like a piss taker.
He did a whole thing on. Did he? Brian Badonky did like a perfume thing though. He went to see some people making perfumes. I'm gonna have to dig that one out now. There's just everyone else kind of looking confused, but yeah, he went to Brian Badonky. Anyway, so okay, what else would Bane wear, James? In your opinion, what's Bane wearing?
I think that was a good call. I can't get the Lone Star Memories out of my head now. That something like that, like something like greasy. Like you mentioned a resin before that was in one of those. Was it like yeah, it's like
Copaiolo or something.
Copal or something like that. And they're like these resins that smell.
I'll get it.
They're weirdly metallic, but they're kind of smoky. And one of them, Copaiba. Yeah.
Copaiba.
So in actual fact, that
Copaiba
one is
oil.
quite green and strange. But there are other ones that are these kind of like they tend to be like really dark. They're actually dark, so they're like black. The actual resin is black. And there was one that was from a very popular materials person who I won't name because, you know, I'm not like, they're not giving us any money. They basically, and they're a bit dodgy as well.
Send
I don't
us
want
the
to get
check,
into that,
you
so we're
bastards.
definitely not going to name them now, but they're a bit dodgy as well. And they did a thing called toolbox tincture, which I love that it was like toolbox tincture, and it is just this one material, so they could have just called it that, but they called it toolbox tincture because it smelled like a toolbox, like that kind of like metal, and it's almost that kind of what do you call it, that sort of like cyborgy kind of thing of like, yeah, okay, it's not like attached to him, but he's got like, I think in the actual cartoons he did have like weird like pipes and shit coming out of him, didn't he? But anyway, Bane, like they kind of toned it down for the film, and fair enough. But yeah, he's kind of almost like part man, part machine kind of thing. So yeah, so some of that, something like that really oily rag, yeah, sort of like dirtiness. And the best fragrance that I can think that conveys that is Lone Star Memories. So Ben, that was a fantastic call on that. Yeah. So yeah,
Ben, you win. Well done.
I'm happy
That's
with that.
the end of the episode. Ben won. Excellent. I was thinking. So there's a word you use sometimes, James, when describing perfumes, which I think is fucking brilliant. Not to blow smoke up your ass, but when you say you describe certain things as spooky, and I think spooky is a brilliant way of describing stuff. And for me, Pharrell Girl, sorry, not boy, it's Pharrell Girl, has that sort of weird, spectral spookiness to it. I mean, I think that would be a great Halloween perfume.
Ghost in a sheet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not overtly terrifying or macabre or sombre or anything, but there is something sort of like a
that's
little
part
bit
of what it is as well. It's that little bit of you can't turn away. It's that classic like rubbernecking at the fucking, you know, the road traffic accident. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of like little bit of creepiness. It's like that thing of like a little bit of funk, a little bit of shit, a little bit of something with all this like pleasantries. That makes it even more exactly what I was saying about the fucking duality. See, it all comes back. The point I was making was actually good. But no, it's like basically thanks. No, but it's basically that kind of like, yeah, that creepiness, because I don't like to say haunting too much, because like, look, it's really haunting sounds a bit pretentious and twatty. So spooky is like, ooh, spooky. It's a bit more like fun, isn't it? Yeah. So like, and violets for me, and it's interesting that you mentioned that perfume because I would say it's pretty violet heavy. The girl, violets tend to be very haunting and like creepy and spooky and stuff to me, in lots of different ways.
But I think culturally they really are linked with that kind of Victorian macabre as well. So like, you know, that all those Victorian cards of little girls holding bunches of violets, or the kind of little match girl feel, that innocence of the violet, but then the macabreness of the awfulness of what it really was to live in Victorian times.
Or maybe like violets do also look a little bit like things like, I don't know, what does fucking Deadly Nightshade look like? Something like that, where it's like they could accidentally be picked instead of the violets. Do you know what I mean? This like pleasant like flower also has loads of things that look like it that are fucking really like, you know, poisonous and shit. And I do like that as well, like that Datura and some of these things. Again, coming back to Serge Lutens, it all comes full circle. They've got a Datura perfume, which, you know, is a very, very nasty poisonous flower. And yeah, just
used to make zombies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the shit.
And if you want to know more about that,
Have you got a dark histories? There you go. Yeah. So yeah, there's all these wonderful like connotations that I think almost don't get sort of exploited enough, because I like the idea of like poison and stuff like that. Maybe that kind of comes back around to the sort of mainstream, which would be your Penhaligons. So like Ben has obviously had recent kind of things of that medicinal line that they've done, which I quite fancy the look of, to be honest. I haven't tried any yet, but they have this like ye olde thing. And in actual fact, even creepier, I watched some murder like thing on Netflix, one of those like unsolved murders, or like somebody they'd found out. There was this like woman who'd been killing, she'd been getting like lodgers in her house and murdering them, and she was just like an old dear, but she fucking murdered like loads of dudes who were like, you know, physically like capable and stuff, and she was like this little old woman, but she was like fucking them over like really terribly, like doing them in, and she'd like poison them and like weaken them and stuff, and then like fuck them over. And they were going through all her drawers, and this is on Netflix, and there was a bottle of Penhaligons perfume that was hers. I think it was like Bluebell or something like that, and I was like
I was literally about to say it's one of the
and I was like, that's
one,
fucking
like
dark, because it looked really old and like vintage and shit. And this was only in like the 1990s or like 2000s or something that this woman was active. But yeah, she had this really old, creepy fucking perfume in her drawer, and I was like, no one who's watching this on Netflix will know what that is, apart from fucking, you know, perfume fans. But I was like, yeah, that's a nice little nod to I understand a bit more about this woman now. She's fucking weird. Yeah.
So my kids keep asking me. So my youngest in particular is going through a horror movie phase. She keeps saying, "Dad, what's a good horror movie to watch?" I was like, I don't really know. I don't really watch a lot of horror movies. And the best horror movie I can come up with is The Shining. So for me, The Shining is like one of the all-time scariest movies ever. But she likes the whole jump scare sort of thing, you know, fright after fright after fright. And for me, those are kind of like, all right, they elevate your pulse, but they're not really terrifying. They don't last with you. They don't fucking
It's almost
wake
the
you up
opposite
in the
of The Shining.
Going, oh, what the fuck? You know, yeah, exactly. So there's multiple kind of genres of this kind of nastiness. But Jack Nicholson
nice.
in The
Yes,
Shining,
I'm glad
what fragrance is that motherfucker wearing?
I don't know, but I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I love that film as well. That is a fucking brilliant film. And if we don't want to get into,
absolutely,
you know,
amazing.
Is it about, you know, the Native American genocide, or is it about like this, or was moon landing, or was Jack actually abusing the kid? And it's all about kind of, you know, abuse themes, and there's all kinds of like, there's a guy, he's a Scouser, right? He's called I can't remember what he's called, but I'll like send you the link or whatever. No, he's really good, and he breaks down Kubrick films like to the fucking nth degree, and he's really, really good. Yeah, it's called Collative Learning.
Really?
His Instagram is called Collative Learning.
Okay.
And he's brilliant. Like, he goes like super deep on all that kind of stuff. So like, shout out to him, and he's really good. But anyway, no. Yeah, so
I have to go
and it goes deep, because like the things, just sorry to go on about this stuff, but I really like this particular element of it, right? That, you know, like the like Kubrick was like really meticulous, wasn't he, about like detail, and they say nothing was in the shot by mistake and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and a lot of the actual routes around the Overlook Hotel are impossible. Right? They don't make sense on a map, because people have tried to map them out and they don't make any sense, because it's like, how can you have a window here where we know that there's no window because he goes round it 360 degrees in his little fucking buggy car thing? And how is that coming back to now an office? How is there stuff there when there was like a staircase there now and stuff? Do you know what I mean? And all these things that he blatantly would have known about, but he deliberately left in to fucking fuck with people's heads. so they think, or it might have just been bad continuity and he really didn't know, and he's just, people have been puzzling over it for years anyway. But no, I just find that sort of stuff interesting. Anyway, what would Jack wear? I don't know. Over to you guys. I'll have a think and shut up for a bit now.
All right, so I'll give you an answer, right? Because I think the thing about the Jack Nicholson character in that movie is he's a sort of, I mean, he's clearly a psychopath, but he's almost like the most mundane fucking guy ever, right? He's an everyman who's just kind of, something's broken inside. Grey flannel perfume. That is like, you know, the archetypal kind of, yeah, what should we get Dad for his fucking birthday? Bottle of grey flannel. It's sort of slightly somber, you know, mainstream, inexpensive, gifty type perfume. And it's probably indicative of a completely warped mind. If you ever meet anyone that actually wears grey flannel, be wary.
See, I was going to say Shalimar. Because when you first see him, he's like in a suit, going for the interview, quite like dapper, almost a bit dandy, and I feel like, you know, it's also a guy wearing Shalimar. Like, there's a little bit of a twist there.
You know who wore Shalimar? You know which evil character wore Shalimar? I reckon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Just interestingly enough, I just googled
100%.
like what fragrance would Jack Torrance from The Shining wear, and it came up with a base notes thread from 2007 where someone was asking what does Jack Nicholson actually wear, and I seem to remember some of those celebrity like things.
Oh, yeah.
I seem to recall this. Someone said, yeah, I read somewhere that he wears Jicky, which doesn't surprise me. It kind of seems, you know what I mean, in that kind of like, yeah, apparently.
Well, Jack Nicholson wears Jicky.
Yeah.
I could buy that.
I could buy that too.
Yeah, nice. But I don't think. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't think that Sam Torrance. Is it Sam Torrance? Jack.
I think he's called Jack,
dad, isn't it?
Yeah, he's called Jack.
Yeah, Sam Torrance is the kid, isn't he? Jack Torrance doesn't strike me as a Jicky character.
No, definitely
grey
not.
flannel. Or perhaps some sort of frozen cologne for the end scene.
You wore that this week, didn't you? Frozen cologne.
I did. I wore YSL La Nuit de l'Homme frozen cologne.
It's good, that one.
It's good. It's all right. I got it for 20 quid on Facebook. It's all right.
I should have bought it when it was out, because I sprayed it in the shop and went, yeah, I like that. Yeah, it was good.
No, I like that.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Should have bought it.
Exactly. All right. So where else do we go? What other famous nasty bastards do we think wear what colognes?
Right.
I mean, the obvious one is fucking, what's his name in it, but we've already kind of spoke about that. Hannibal Lecter.
Have we?
Well, we kind of touched on it with the thing. It's a bit of one of those kind of things because he talks about the l'air du temps and the fucking
l'air du temps.
Yeah,
but not today.
Not today. All that shit. So no, we won't talk about it. But I'm just.
Oh no! What was the brand though? I think actually you referenced it sort of briefly earlier, Ben. But there is a brand that did a fragrance called Not Today. Isn't
Is it Filippo Sorcinelli?
Sorcinelli, yeah.
So yeah, other evil characters. Come on, other evil characters, because like I feel like we got quite depressed and maudlin with the beginning of this, and it wasn't the intention. So let's pick it up a bit for the grand finale. What have we got? Dracula. I've got it. Easy. Go on, you go, Ben. But I know.
Iris Silver Mist.
Oh, you are
really?
clever.
It has to be, doesn't it?
Really?
Surely.
Yeah.
No,
I was going to say
Eucharist.
L'Orpheline.
GOF Trumper, Eucharist. Easily the most gothic rose out there. Definitely a vampire a perfume. 100%. Vampires wear rose and patchouli and blood and stuff like that. So
I don't know if they do.
Eucharist
I think they.
Yeah, of course they fucking
I think
do.
that Ben
I'm
is
not
right.
arguing with you, Fliss.
Ben is right.
I'm always right. Apparently I'm always right, and I will not accept. I simply will not accept disagreement.
I like this idea
I'm right, you're wrong.
of this kind of like ghostly dapperness that Ben's got with the Irish Silver Mist.
Gothic, ghostly, cold.
It's not obvious. It's chillingly. Ooh.
Chillingly.
I'm sorry, everyone at home can't see my little face as I do that.
It was very effective.
Who were we talking about then?
Dracula.
Oh, right, okay. There's one by, what's that Check and Speak one that's like red?
Yeah, number 88.
Yeah,
it's the same vibe as Trumper's Eucharist. It's that gothic rose patchouli sort of.
I love
thing.
Eucharist.
Like,
I fucking love Eucharist. I should get that.
It's a great perfume.
Yeah. Look it up.
It's spicy.
It's rose
just,
more.
It's gorgeous.
Is rose more like Nosferatu, or is he more patchouli? Sort of patchouli rose.
Who the fuck is Nosferatu, mate? Is he?
It's the black, like the old, like 1930s
the original,
black and white.
Yeah.
Big fucking nose and like, it's all like weird.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he sounds good.
Looked a bit like, have you ever seen The Witches? It looks a bit like the Grand High Witch from The Witches. While we're on this dark subject, have you ever heard of a brand called Not Perfume? Which is a bit twatty when you think about it. I think it's called Not. I can't remember. I can't find the woman. I can't know. It's the most witchy brand, right? She basically scrawled the fucking notes in like blood on a fucking bit of parchment that she fucking sent me. Not quite.
Wow.
No, but it's very like Nordic. I think she's like Scandinavian. She's like Icelandic or some shit. Sorry, but
just simply N-O-T.
Yeah, N-O-T.
Yeah, they're coming up on Fragrantica. There's a load of them.
Yeah.
There's one here, gunpowder, tobacco, birch tar, ash, cade oil.
That sounds
exactly like what we're talking about.
I think Ben would fucking love them. I mean,
great,
they are dark as fuck, and they're like proper like little kind of a tar sort of oil things that like stain your clothes and shit. And yeah, I think they would pretty, I mean, they're very crude in terms of like perfumery, but like witchy. They may as well have been fucking mixed in a cauldron. Do you know what I mean? They are dark as no, I mean, some people try and do,
they're an indie perfume, they probably were.
Well, yeah, they try and do dark, right? And they don't really pull it off. Like there's some like Andrea Mack, I remember those, like there was one called like Craft, which was supposed to be about like witchcraft, and there was one called Coal, which was kind of dark somewhat, but they were still appealing in that exact same way that we said, we must have something that appeals to things. They don't have any consideration for appealing to any tropes of perfume or anyone's taste or anything like that. They're just simply what they are. And the reason she's called them Not Perfume is because she just basically put a disclaimer on them saying that they weren't perfumes to get round the IFRA stuff, just saying, don't put it on your skin. Like, these are not for use on your skin, but
it's like the what was the ones we had from
Christoph Vladimir. I think it's Everlasting, isn't it? Is the one that you're not meant to wear.
Yeah. But that was reasonably clear, whereas this is just a kind of, I mean, the whole brand is based around this, but it is a little bit irresponsible because it's kind of, they are perfumes and she is putting them out there as perfumes and everybody knows they're perfumes, but she's saying, oh no, don't wear them.
Well, I
put them on your curtains.
A disclaimer on it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't wear this. Don't wear this not perfume.
Because that worries me, because if she's put like birch tar in it, how much does she put in? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it dangerous? Could it give you a fucking rash or whatever? I don't know. But I did try them all and I did somewhat enjoy them. Just for the weirdness of what they are, and each one's got like a weird little kind of almost like a Nordic symbol. Like she's made her own little symbol for each one, which is cool. And they're all kind of like maybe like pressed in wax or something. They're all really handmade. They've got a really nice kind of look about them and sort of aesthetic that's very witchy. But yeah, that's right. A cool brand.
Okay, I want to wrap it up by asking you to name one perfume each. Okay, and it's the perfume that you will wear for a somber occasion, when you want to feel somber. And I'm not going to be so crass as to say what's the fragrance you'd wear for a funeral, because on my, I think I mentioned that, when my dad died earlier this year, I didn't want to wear a perfume for his funeral because I didn't want the day to be associated. I didn't want that to be a thing. But there is a perfume that I wear when I'm feeling sort of somber, and I'm wondering whether you guys have one, and I'll give you mine at the end. You James.
No, it's interesting that you say when you're feeling somber, because it's that weird thing of like, do you wear perfume to elevate your mood or change your mood or whatever, or do you want to wallow in it, or do you want to match it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm talking about matching your mood here, not about changing your mood.
No, which is interesting, isn't it? Because that probably is such a, when you're feeling that way, no perfume's going to change your mood, is it? Do you know what I mean? Even if it's your favourite thing, and like you say, it's not gonna make things any better. It's not going to make them worse, but it ain't going to make them better.
And what's worse is if you've just learnt that your pet has got cancer or something, you probably don't want to listen to the Venga Boys. It's like it's not going to work, right? So there's no point wearing your happy perfume to try and break you out of the fucking mood. No. I'm just wondering, what is the mood match perfume for kind of feeling a little bit bleak but not feeling like, I don't know.
Mine, I don't own it anymore, so this probably tells you how much that I'm not asked about matching my mood, in that circumstance. Is Encre Noire by Lalique, which I think is probably the bleakest perfume that I've ever smelled, and not just because of its actual bleakness and dreariness and dullness. It's like the worst fucking day in Manchester. Do you know what I mean? It's like just fucking dank. You know what I mean? Like you can't even get a fucking cigarette lit. Do you know what I mean? It's that fucking like just a disgrace. But that is my thing, and it's because it's so thrifty as well. It's just fucking loads of Isoe Super and a little bit of like vetiver acetate. And this is what annoys me. Somebody compared that vetiver, Etro vetiver that I wore today to Encre Noire. So if you go on the web, there's loads of people saying it's like Encre Noire, and it's like, it's not like Encre Noire. It's like Encre Noire if you're fucking stupid and you don't know anything about perfume. Sorry, but it's true. Yes.
But everyone compares every vetiver.
I know.
In some way, it's like, oh great, they smell like fleetingly similar in like about 3%.
Know the difference between vetiver acetate and vetiver. Yes, vetiver acetate is literally the essence of vetiver. It's a really good thing to use it's not even that cheap a material anymore, right? It's actually, I think since it's gone like to the point where it's actually not that kind of thrifty to use that, but it's quite powerful and it's quite high in the mix and stuff like that, so I understand why they use it. But really, a good vetiver material has lots of different facets and qualities and different ways of bringing it out and all that kind of thing, whereas Encre Noire doesn't do that. It just gives you this like woolly, like woody thing, and then it puts vetiver acetate in your face and goes, there you go, have that for fucking ages, and it feels like a fucking hymn at a funeral on a fucking dreary October day or whatever. That is what it feels like.
I will take that. I will absolutely take that. I think that's a brilliant answer and absolutely nails the essence of kind of melancholy perfumery. And I should point out that came up a couple of times also on Facebook when I asked a few people about it. Ben, what are you thinking?
I probably don't do that, but if I was going to, it would be Amouage Figment Man. Probably. That kind of petrichor, dank earthiness. It's kind of relentless. It smells like a fucking rainy October day. Grey skies. You know, pretty morose and downbeat. So yeah, probably that. But I don't think I do that, really. And I sort of... I think I'd probably just wear... Like, if I was in that mood, I'd just wear nothing, because I just wouldn't...
Yeah, you don't want the negative association, but you also kind of just don't want...
Yeah. No,
but yeah, forced to answer the question, it would be Figment Man, I think.
It's a good
Amouage Figment Man, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fliss?
I really want to say 2, but you're going to say I'm only allowed 1. So
So you say as many as you want.
I think I would probably consider very highly Avignon by Comme des Garçons, because I think that is just cold as all hell. There's just no joy in that. As a church perfume, that church is cold and wet, and it's just it's a dark cathedral on a dark Tuesday afternoon. There's no choir. There's nobody there. No one's going to take your fucking confession. It's just you got to sit on that back step and cry a bit, because it's horrid and it smells cold. But then I also think something like Brumer by Maison Trudon, which is an Antoine Lee, and it smells very similar to Farrell Girl, but it's a bit irisier and a bit rootier. Irisier. And there's a cold. It's colder than Farrell Girl, and I think that if I was out and about and I had to meet people in this sad, morose or meditative state, then something like that, I find it's not comforting, but it's just emotionless.
Do you know what, Fliss?
Sits.
I was trying to think before when we were talking about brands with this kind of like, you know, heritage, and they're kind of harking back to stuff like that, and we were kind of touching on like Beaufort and stuff. It was that Trudon brand that you sent us, that Revolution one, which is all about Napoleon and shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So are all their perfumes like that kind of theme? Is it? Would you characterise that brand as that?
They're a candle brand, and they do really, really interesting smell stories, and some of the stuff I really love having as a candle, and I wouldn't necessarily want to wear it as a perfume, because it is exactly that kind of revolution feel. And Brumer, I think, is another excellent example of something that actually, it's not unwearable, but you have to be in a very specific mood in order to wear it, and I think all of their stuff is like that.
Speaking...
The Avignon one they've got that you sent me.
Mortel.
Frankincense
The
heavy.
Mortel.
That's great as well.
Speaking of candle brands, sorry to just bring this back to news. Right, news. Right, we forgot the news section. Yeah. So...
we haven't done it for months.
I know. Yeah. Yep. So we forgot it like months ago. But no, there's Bougie. Are they called Bougie?
Bougie.
That brand,
candle.
The candle brand are not doing candles any. Well, I think they're still doing candles. If you can quote me on that. But they've got those scents from the candles in perfumes now, and they've I think they're releasing them this week or something. It's like Pia Long and Nick Gilbert, and they do like that old fiction thing, and yeah, so those perfumes that you were like, I'm not being funny, but I was always like, those fragrances are too good to be in a candle. What the fuck are they putting them in candles for? Do you know what I mean? Like, who wants a candle? I mean, okay, yeah, we all get an occasional candle, but I was like, okay, all these would be amazing perfumes. Why are they not perfumes? They're perfumes now. So go buy them.
Nice. Go buy them.
Not a shill. Yes.
Okay. Well, my maudlin perfume, and believe me, this year has been a fucking cunt of a year for me. I've had ups and downs in my 47 years, but I can honestly say 2023 has been by far and away the worst year of my life, and I have been reaching quite a lot for Prada Infusion d'Homme. Just really soapy, clean, basic.
It's fucking good. Though.
Yeah. It's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant, but it is sort of miserable.
Yeah.
It is sort of depressing and kind of like in a kind of gothic, brutalist, soapy sort of way. It just, I don't know, it seems to match my mood a lot. Anyway, right, I don't want to leave this episode on such a shitty note, so I want to read something out, which a dear friend of mine, Claire, I asked about this on Facebook, and Claire just got so into it, and she's got this whole story that she's written around Shiseido Nombre Noir. And it is epic and it is brilliant. And if I was to read the whole thing out, I would be here all day. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read out the first sort of paragraph of it or so. And then I think what we'll do is try and publish the rest on our Facebook group, the Les Oderants Facebook group, so people can read it, because it is phenomenal. I mean, she's a brilliant literary talent and a fantastic perfume,
perfumista in general.
Perfumista,
yeah,
yes,
she really
font
is.
of all knowledge. Although that time where she tried to fucking trick me into whether or not I could recognise one of my favourite perfumes in a blind sniff test will never be forgotten. So anyway, right, and it goes like this. I have a habit of frequenting car boot sales, sometimes for selling, sometimes buying, and occasionally both. It was on one of these visits that I found my treasure and my curse. My normal habit is to arrive well before buyers are allowed entry, set up with my sister-in-law and have a sneaky look around other sellers' stalls before the customers' ingress. I'd seen one lady arriving and noted her as a target. Nice car, random boxes, bags and piles of clothes marked her out as having a deep declutter, plus a very sulky-looking daughter or sister on the passenger side made me consider she'd be distracted. Sauntering over, I couldn't keep a sparkle out of my eyes seeing a big box of bottles. Hi, mind if I have a rummage? I shouldn't be buying, but I can never resist perfume. I didn't get a smile back. I thought to myself, right, she's distracted. Glancing into the car, I saw the girl again, all in black, and oh shit! Were those bandages on her wrists? Mum caught my glance. Go ahead. There might be something in there for you. Already I was not hearing because I saw there was a black on black box. Was it empty? Lifting it? No. Was it... What? Mind if I just about acknowledged her nod as I breathlessly trapped the card under my nail and slipped the contents out. And the rest will be published on our Facebook group. It is a phenomenal fucking read. She is absolutely sensational, and people will definitely enjoy hearing the rest of that. But if I was to read it all out, we'd be here for the next hour or so. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Nombre Noir. Which we have spoken about it before, but the story behind Nombre Noir is nutty. As I understand it, it's like this random perfumer plucked out of kind of nowhere, assigned to develop this perfume for a Shiseido that they had to sell at like a massive loss. Each bottle apparently cost them $20 to sell, and then there was some huge recall where they recalled all of the bottles and then sort of crushed them with some fucking like mechanized apparatus to sort of wipe all evidence off it, off the earth. The perfumer subsequently committed suicide, and there are still some of these perfume bottles around that were not sort of managed to recall and destroy. And it's mental. And I have actually smelled it. And it's all right. It's not going to blow your mind, but the story is so fucking dark. It's unreal. And I would strongly urge all listeners to join our Facebook group and to just read what Claire has written about that, because it is fucking mind-bending. Anyway, right, final thoughts. Fliss.
No, I don't have any final thoughts. Oh, shit. I felt like I should have said something intelligent. I've got nothing intelligent to say.
Oh, useless. Yeah, Ben, do you have anything intelligent to say?
Nothing intelligent to say, but I do want to point just one, like, zoologist moth. Just chuck it, because we, like,
Lovely.
You can't have this episode without mentioning zoologist moth, which is...
Big fan. I can't stand any zoologist. So, no, I'm just making that up. Okay, no, good call, zoologist moth. Anything else you want to say about it?
No.
Okay. No. Excellent. James, final thoughts from you, sir.
3 Bs. Boof. Bing. And bong. Bong. Bong.
Bong.
No, that's it, really.
Boof, bing,
Good app. Good app. It's a good one.
That's what I'm going to name this episode.
Weird.
Boof, bing, and bong.
Boof, bing,
Boof,
and
bing,
bong.
bong.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. We're in so much trouble. But the good news is they'll have to listen more or less to the end to find out what the fuck that meant. So it all counts. Good. Right. Okay. We have been Les Oderants. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with hopefully some slightly more coherent shit. Until then, stay well. Stick with us. We'll be back next time. Bye.
Bye.